more I'm talking to you two than going to a therapist for a year, you know? I mean,
Yes.
it's so
Yes.
funny. Like it's just that digging deep, hardcore, figuring things out. So yeah.
Yes, no, and I appreciate you saying that because I feel like we've had people who've been in therapy 10 years. You know, we had one gal 20 years. I mean, this is crazy, right?
Oh my
It's like I want to
gosh.
find that therapist and
Right.
have a 5 minute alone with a closed door. You know what I'm saying? Like, what were you doing?
Right. Right.
But these are the things that we get down to it. We really, it's not, we talked about this morning. It's not always fun. It's
Mm-mm.
not always easy, but it is so
Mm-mm.
worth it.
But it's
Holy
so worth
shit,
it.
it is
Yeah.
so worth it.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
so worth it. And you can spend so much time, which I have. I mean, I know you have, right? In personal
Yeah.
development, in being able to, invest in things that, we've spent on, trying to get to the other side of whatever this is.
Yeah.
But unless you're in practice every day doing those things, you're not clearing it. You're just
Right.
carrying it. There's a
Right.
difference. Anybody can be happy in the moment or in the day or whatever. And
Yeah.
I don't know if I told you or I told another client I was talking about, I could be that extrovert. I could be happy. But I was still going home and crying. Do you know
Oh
what I'm
yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
Being alone in a room and journaling and like, I don't do any of that. Like I am
Yeah.
100%. But it's a safe zone. It's a
Yeah.
safe zone that you create. And I think that that's really important. We even do the angels only homework. We talk about the closest people around you, the people that we spend just an awareness, right? And I remember that I had a best friend, 10 years, best friend. And this guy asked me out for coffee. And
Oh yeah.
in my gut, right? In my gut, I heard no, 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 no. And what does my best friend say, who knows me so well? She says, it's only coffee. 2 years of my life. 2 years of my life, I can never
You
get
told
back.
me
Do you
that story.
understand? Like,
Yeah.
I should have said no. I knew, right? My higher self
Yeah.
told me, but I wasn't understanding what that clarity was. And now I don't need a friend who knows me really well to
Yes.
tell me what I should do. There's just a knowing. Now with our group of women, we then get confirmation, right? We then
Mm-hmm.
get
Mm-hmm.
that yes, that encouragement, that okay, remember this, so could you be influenced by this? And then
Yeah.
you can say, right? And you can really check in, right? And
Yeah.
I love when a client says, yeah, I felt this, and then I checked in and I was like, bullshit. I love that because you're calling it on
Right.
yourself.
Yes.
We feel like
Yes.
we have to roll call 5, 10, 15 people for their opinion. You
Oh my
have all
God,
the
right?
answers.
Oh my God.
You
So true.
just know.
So true.
So,
And the thing is that you know in your gut and then you totally don't listen to it. And like you said, you go to the check-in and you check in, and then anyways, yes, I get, and now I'm getting to a point where even just the other day I started making up shit in my head. I was like, okay, ego, shut the hell up, you asshole.
yes,
Like shut
yes,
up and just stay in the moment. Stop, don't worry about what's going to happen like in May or June. Like you got to focus on the now. Like you're
yes,
watching a movie. Sit there and watch the
yes,
dang movie. Watch Tiger King,
yes.
whatever. you know,
Yeah,
stay in the moment. And I'm a
yes.
futuristic, like I'm a goal person. I'm a goal oriented person. So I understand the thing about goals, but you also have to stay in the now. And sometimes that's hard to do, especially in situations we're in now. It's hard to see the big picture. So
Yeah, so I think that goes back even with people in quarantine. I think this is really great is the first day, last day mentality. I had touched on it with you
oh
when we were
yeah.
texting. Really, really important. One of the things that I learned is if today was your last day on earth, right? How would
Hmm.
you want to spend it? Where would
Hmm.
you go? Who would you be with, right? What would you say to people? How would you show up, right?
Yeah.
If it's your first day, not in a baby form, but your first day, right? First day of a job, first day in a relationship, first date. How do you show up?
Hmm.
Optimum, your best, right? I
Yeah.
mean, if you think about it, we talked even about renewals of contracts, right? If we had to like
Yes.
interview every year for the position, if we had to check in to have, these things continue benefits in life, how would we then live and show up?
Hmm.
And I think we get so caught up in the what ifs. What if
Yeah.
this doesn't happen? What if that doesn't happen? What if this doesn't
Yes.
work out? And it's real, even down to relationships. I mean, let me tell you, dating fucking sucks, right? I mean, for our single women out there that have to swipe left or swipe right, like, it's
Oh,
just, yes, there's a whole different era that's happening. And, being able to be grounded, whole, and complete, and being enough, and knowing that you are the entire package, coming and going,
yeah.
that you are in need of nothing, it is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. And it's really awesome because then we put out that energy, right? I have single
Right.
women that I talk about when you're dating, you're the chooser, you're the interviewer. You're the one that gets not, will he
Ooh.
like me? Am I impressing him? Am I dressed right? No, absolutely not. You looked at yourself in the mirror, you're fucking hot. You did your
Right.
makeup, you're happy with your hair, right?
Right.
So are you going out there seeking other people? And I think we get so caught up in every area of our life,
Hmm.
if whether or not we're going to pass the test, right?
Yeah.
And if we are complete with who we are, like you talk about your
Yes.
triathlons, your race, you run your race, right? We
Hmm.
talked about people be disappointing others. It's your journey, it's your race. And
Yeah.
that's what's so awesome about having Amelia and myself as your support team, is we are going to be there at the finish line. We are going to make sure that you succeed and that you get to the other side. And I've done it alone, and trust me, it's the fastest amount of change in the shortest period of time. I
Hmm.
mean, most people go 6 weeks. Really? What do you expect to do in 6 weeks? Change your whole fucking life. That's
You
what we do.
do. You do. I wish we could, like, physically, I wish I could be like, yeah, I'm Ironman World Championship ready. I'm ready
Yeah.
in 6 weeks, but unfortunately that doesn't happen. But it's amazing what the mind and the
Yes.
spiritual journey can do during this time. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
I love that.
yeah,
And we really
yeah.
focus on those four things: mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual. We literally look at all of those
Hmm.
because we have checks and balances, right? And even with Amelia's energy right now, physically, her mind is sharp, right? But when you feel tired or you feel your energy, it's just making sure you're optimum level. When you're living
Hmm.
at that high vibration all the time and you're constantly
Yeah.
of service to
Oh.
others, yeah. I mean, too,
Hmm.
being a coach,
Yeah.
right? It's being able to carve out that time, and it's tired, sick, or hungry. You talk about the ego's food. Are you eating? Are you drinking? I mean, I would say a couple months ago, I just hit a wall.
Hmm.
I was having the worst fucking day ever out of having a year of happiness. I've been awesome. And I remember, Amelia, it was 3 o'clock. I didn't know what time it was. Amelia texted me, have you eaten? Have you slept? Right? Are you
Hmm.
tired? Right? Tired, sick, or hot? Are you feeling well? And I looked at the clock. It was 3 o'clock. I hadn't eaten,
Hmm.
hadn't had any water. I was working so much consistently. We're one project, putting out fires, that I completely dismissed all my needs.
Yeah.
Right? So when there's that awareness of, oh my gosh, this is horrible. I used to live there, by the way. I mean, I was last on the totem pole, right? So
Hmm.
once I went and got myself something to eat, she started laughing. She's like, back to basics, honey.
Yeah. That's so
Because
true.
so true. It's like, what did we forget? It was like the basics of ABC. And so, really, just being able to share that with others, I cannot tell you the life
Hmm.
changing experience it has, going into our childhood, going into the things that we even forget were issues, statements that
Right.
somebody said, things that happened in college for people,
Oh my
like
God. Right.
literally, women are remembering things that happened when they were 5 that they didn't
Girl,
know.
remember I talked to you about the high school bitches?
Yes, the Mean
Oh,
Girls.
the mean girls. Like the mean girls, I got picked on all the dang time. And not just from the girls, from the boys, and it's just like, I don't know why, but whatever. And I'm over it. Like, I'm just
Yeah,
like, it's fine. Y'all had your own issues too. I mean,
right.
I get it. I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, I had a girl friend that just did a talk like this, and she does breath work. Talking about, I've done with her. She's practiced on me. She is phenomenal. And she had told a story I'd never heard her tell before. And she said that she was conscious in school that a bully who was a boy came up and punched her in the stomach. And it was her first awareness of
Oh
her
my
not being able to
gosh.
breathe, and she still remembers his name. And all I thought to myself is, I need to reach out and talk to her because she needs to do this work. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
but yet it created greatness. It allowed her to
Yeah.
then create this wonderful work that she does, where she's a service. So even though you look at the source, right, you look at the
Mhm.
fuel, remember we talked about what you've been
Mhm.
running from, When you look at the
Yep.
source, when you're able to take that and turn it into something beautiful and
Hmm.
heal from it, oh my gosh, all the things you can share with the world. And I look at my
Right.
life. I always say have lived 5 lives. Oh my gosh, I could be on a live and tell my whole story and I could be here for days. I mean, I have been through some shit. But the range I have to coach is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
unbelievable because I was a mom at 21, right?
Oh.
I have a new client that's on her third baby. She's 26 years old. I can relate to that. I know what that crazy looks like, right?
Hmm.
I just this big wide. I've been an owner of, I was a corporate owner of 2 companies by myself at the age of 27. No investors, no support, no help, just me. I mean, there's big leaps and risks that I've taken
Yeah.
that I'm able to help, whether I'm in, a conference room full of suits or I'm on an Instagram live with a bunch of enlightened people. I mean, it's
Right.
really amazing to see that it was not all for nothing, right?
Right.
And I
Right.
think that is what I love is all the women that we have that gone through the program, they have their divine purpose. They
Hmm.
know their focus. They know the direction, whether it's educational, whether it's spiritual, whether it's with women, whatever it looks like for them. And they are then going to put that imprint on the world. And I think that's what
Hmm.
makes Amelia so special is the scope of what her vision is globally. I don't think people
Yeah.
really grasp that globally, is unbelievable.
I agree.
Unbelievable.
I agree. It's interesting because being a 15-time Ironman triathlete, so swim, bike, run, done that, went to the Ironman World Championship. Like when I first started doing these races, it was the whole like trying to get my dad's attention, right? Because I didn't play sports like I didn't play the sports that my brother played, like the football, basketball, baseball,
Yeah.
hockey, that type of thing. But as I continued on this journey, I realized I wasn't doing it for him anymore. I was doing it for myself and trying to prove to myself that I am athletic, that I am enough, that I am this, that I am that. Finally, November 4th, 2019, I said, I'm done.
Mm.
I don't have to prove anything to anybody anymore. And it was the best feeling. Like, but it's just crazy, like, because then I find y'all and I'm realizing that my life is to teach that. Is
Yes.
to teach that just because racing and Ironmans are amazing, they're great workout, a little bit crazy maybe, but I don't know, like I'm just started babbling.
No, no, but that's the thing. It's a niche,
It's
right?
a niche for sure.
So when you look at that, it's the top 2%. We talk about that.
Yeah.
People think Amelia and I take everybody. We don't. I mean, it's just we don't. It's why we do the discovery calls. We want to make sure that it's a good fit, that we
Hmm.
see the vision that you have for yourself, as well as knowing what this work entails, right?
Yeah.
And as crazy as that sounds, it's really important because the time we invest, I mean, I love my girls. I love them, right? This is family. And so because we are invested that deeply into the healing, if we just said, okay, well, open forum and, people are at a happiness level at a 1 to a 3, they haven't done the
Right.
foundational work, right? We want to get people that are, at a 7, 8, 9. We have a client at a 10, which is amazing because they still see this applicable to their life, right? Applicable to their life, which is really important. But we want the foundation there because we're the finishing. We finish the
Hmm.
work at the end. This is something that we go in and we say, okay, you've done all of this. Now go,
Yeah.
right? Where can you be? And I worked with Amelia for a year. I mean, I did my 6 weeks and I knew that I was not, where I wanted to be with my focus because I was always going to be a coach. It was always something I was going to do. I was already doing it. But my, focus was in for cancer patients. That was what,
Hmm.
I've been doing that for 10 years. And then I thought, gosh, if cancer comes from anger, resentment, and unforgiveness, right? All deep
Hmm.
seated, swallowed stuff, then, what can it look like if I help them before it gets to that, before it develops to
Right.
that, right? And so that's why I really felt like, so I have a whole program designed specifically for cancer,
Wow,
as
that's
well
great.
as, yeah, what Amelia does on her program. And so to be
Yeah.
able to do both is just incredible.
Yeah. And that was the cool thing is that even though I've coached triathletes for years, I've coached over 30 plus athletes to get to their first Ironman or their 10th Ironman. I realized that I need to get more women with that champion mindset of I now teach women how to get out of their own head. Like, but then you guys are just elevating me to a totally different level, which is awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I think for me, like when I first started personal development, I went for my business. See, I do that, my business, because it affected everything else. My business was a
Mm-hmm.
bonus. It was a bonus, don't get me wrong,
Mm-hmm.
but it was just the bonus. It changed my relationship with myself in every area of my life,
Yeah.
with my kids, the way I communicate, how I make requests. It's crazy, just even the little thought processes, those little in mind. But what Amelia's program does is fine tune the frequency. And I
Mm-hmm.
always say this to myself. We talked about this morning. I came into this earth alone and I will leave alone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And we're always in the mindset of acquiring, which is not bad, but we can't take it with us. It doesn't get to go with
That's
us.
true. That is
Right.
true.
So
Mm-hmm.
who do I want to be in your
Ooh,
life?
sorry.
Who do I want to be in your life? Right?
Mm-hmm.
What
Mm-hmm.
what do I want to contribute to you? What do you give back to me? And
Yeah.
I will tell you, there's all the time where we get stuff from clients too, all the time. I mean, shit, I moved a gym into my garage because of this beautiful
That's
being, and I was up at 5 in the morning with my ass in the gym.
that's
I
right.
mean, there's no excuses. You choose.
No
You
excuses.
are
Yep.
the chooser in every area of your life. And so when you
Mm-hmm.
want to be the top 2%, you do the work. And that's what sets us apart. I don't know if anybody else has any questions.
Doesn't look like it.
Aw, June,
Scroll.
thank you, love. I appreciate it. Okay, so Amelia had asked us to tell our stories. So if you want to talk about how you came um, to the program, how you found her.
Oh gosh. Well, I first of all, I love Instagram. Instagram has done such great wonders to my business, to my coaching, my triathlon coaching, my women's group. So I'm always looking to find women who empower women, right? Um, I found Amelia through Pardis.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and Pardis talks about twin flames, and I started learning about this twin flame journey, and I was like, what is this all about? I don't get
Yes.
it.
Yes.
So I would just start watching Pardis. I reached out to her. I started watching her, just learning about her, and then Pardis was on Amelia's Empress
Live.
Evolution live.
Yeah.
And so then I started watching that. I was like, oh, okay, okay. And so then um, and then Amelia, she reaches out to me. We start DMing.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, if you have a business, DMs are the key for your success in a business on Instagram. Um, and yeah, you reach out to the people, and she reached out to me. We exchanged numbers, and we got on the phone, and voila,
Oh,
here
I
we are.
love that.
Yeah, yeah,
That's amazing. So for me, honestly, I can't even tell you how she even, was on my feed. I have no idea.
right.
And she came across my feed and I looked at her stuff and she just resonated. I can't even
Yeah.
tell. I was, there's a lot of clients that always say I was just drawn to her, whatever that looks like, but it
Mm-hmm.
resonates with me because that's really what it was for me. I didn't know anything about her. We didn't have any mutual friends.
Right.
And so I booked a discovery call and within 4 days, I was on my first class. I mean, it happened really quickly. I just said yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I even say
Mm-hmm.
that in my testimonial because we have everyone do a testimonial. And I said, I've been saying yes ever since. And it was really interesting because she would say, oh, honey, one day you're going to run my company. And I'm like, what's she talking about? You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
she'd say
Yeah.
things. And then one time when we were doing the whole gym thing, because I was like, I really want to work out every day and I have all this equipment, but I really like an elliptical. And she goes, one's going to be delivered to you. And I was like,
Huh.
okay, Amelia. And I shit you not even kidding you, an ex of mine said a gym was closing down. I swear it's like a $3,000 to $5,000 machine. It has no
Yeah.
cord. It self starts. You do whatever. And he's like, I thought of you. And so he delivered it in his
Oh my
truck,
gosh.
backed it up, put it in my garage. It was like this thing that was glowing from the heavens because Amelia laughs sarcastically because she's always right. It's freaking funny. And
Nice.
I'm like, I got this elliptical. She goes, I know. I'm
I
like,
know.
oh my gosh,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
so as we worked together and as it went on, it was just something that organically happened where we work really well together in tandem, you know? And I
Hmm.
always say, like, if I were to dye my hair, that would be the color. I'd be
Oh
spontaneous. And
yeah.
my older sister Roxanne, she dyes her hair all kinds of crazy colors. She's done
Roxanne.
like 5 different colors at
How
once. She's
funny.
that, right? My other sister does straight mohawks. She will literally buzz her whole head and have like the
Wow.
full, okay, this is me. It's always been me. Oh, right? And then I look at
Yep.
Amelia and I'm
Yep.
like, yeah, it's
I
about
know.
right.
I know. I'm like, yeah. It's funny. Like, she would probably be your alter ego, right?
That's what I'm saying. That's what we talk about. Yes.
Actually, my
Great.
alter ego would actually be Foxy Brown from Austin Powers, Beyonce.
That's funny. Yes, yes. And so I think our clients get the best of both worlds,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because we balance each other really
For
well.
sure. For sure.
And I think that's what really works for us and our clients. But for me, Amelia is also a very strong woman. People look at me as like really
Hmm.
strong and she's like whimsical, but she's also very strong because I needed someone strong. I
Hmm.
needed someone to tell me, put that person on the fucking list and we're doing it. Like,
Yeah.
you know, and it's so cute because when I hear her talk about me, she's like, it was scary coaching Elisha. She's like, you know, I didn't always want to tell her the things I had to tell her, you know,
Yeah.
but she is transparent enough to step into that truth of whatever the client needs. Does that
Hmm.
make sense? Because at the
Hmm.
end of the day, it's not about her. She always knows that it's for the greater good of the person she's working with.
Hmm.
And I think that's what I respect the most about all of this, right? Because she
For sure.
literally will call me and say, "Oh, we have this new client who's, you know, a stay-at-home mom, and then we have this new client who's a triathlon champion 15, you know what I'm saying? Our
Yeah.
range is so
Yeah.
awesome because we really look at the heart of the person and where they're currently at and where they want to
Hmm.
go, because
Hmm.
that's the biggest thing. And so when I see her developing different sectors of women, whether it's education, right, whether it's fitness, whether they really all blend and they all come
Hmm.
together. And I mean, you jumped on it for a little bit, our party, our little Zoom party, but
Mm.
we really have a great core of women, and the ages really vary, right?
Yeah.
And we all
Yeah.
want the same thing. We all are looking to be whole and complete and healed at the end of the day and just put down the shit. Be done with
Yes.
it once and for
So done
all.
with it.
So
Because I
done.
remember, was it our conversation on Friday? We were talking, and I sort of told you the story because you gave me some homework and I didn't do the homework. But I started like talking my excuses, and you're like, stop, just stop. Listen to
Mm-hmm.
yourself, judgment, your ego. And I'm like, no, I don't want to be that. And you're like, well,
Mm-hmm.
then stop
Yeah.
doing it. And I was like, oh my gosh. So, like, even when I text friends or whatever, I, I, I have to actually check
Yeah.
now my ego and check, am I judging? No, I'm just stating the facts that, you
Yes.
know, a to b equals c or whatever, but um yeah, it was really, that was just on Friday, and I was just like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to live like that person. I don't want to live in constant judgment of everybody. Like, I think, no, I think that's, I want to give everybody grace and love and light.
I like that word for you.
Grace.
Grace. I
I
like
know
that.
we've already
It's
established
a
what's going
good
to
word.
happen with that.
Yeah, that's a good word. That's a good word. You know, it's really interesting that you say that because once you come from a place, there's two things that people are always rooted to in love and hate. That's it, right? And so you
Mm,
check in. Another word for hate is anger. People don't realize they think it's one or the other, but am I saying this in love or I'm saying this in anger?
mm,
Right. And so when you
mm-hmm,
take it to that point, something happened in my personal family that I made a decision and I made a call and I was complete with it. And I thought it was just, and I got backlash. Family stopped talking to me. My mom called me and she's like, you know what, honey, maybe you shouldn't have done that. And I said, Mom, I love you. And I respectfully decline your feedback because if I was given the opportunity in this moment to make that decision again, I totally would.
mm-hmm,
Do you see it?
mm-hmm.
When you're at peace with the
Yes.
source of what you're doing, you're not attached to the result. You have
Hmm.
no attachment to what happens after because you know you're speaking your truth. Does
Yeah.
that make sense? And so
Yeah.
Amelia talks about whether it's friends, whether it's family, I have no ill will. I want them to eat, just not at my table. Do you understand?
Right.
Because if they can't love me in my entirety and accept me for my truth and who I am, that's okay.
Hmm.
That's what free will is. That's okay. Am I going to change my thoughts and behaviors? Absolutely not. And we have women now that are setting healthy boundaries. Oh my
Hmm.
gosh. Boundaries of if your phone rings, guess what? You don't have to pick up.
You don't have to pick up. Oh my
What?
God. Yes.
What? Really?
Yes.
I'm allowed? Boundaries. Oh my gosh, right? I mean, literally,
Yes.
I'm so energetically tied that I have found myself, true story, where I've thrown my phone. Just, I didn't want it near me. Do you understand?
Hmm.
Out. And
Hmm.
there's nothing wrong with that. Those are the
Yeah.
things that you want to say. I am complete. I am worthy. I am enough. I am clear on who I am. And I'm going to stand in that.
Hmm.
And I don't think women think that that's, arrogant or egotistical or all these attachments to it. You're better than. No, I'm clear.
Hmm.
And that is
Hmm.
the best place to be. And when you get to the other side again, I didn't understand it before I did the course, and you're right on the verge of that. You're at the
Right.
door
I'm
with
at
the
the
key.
tipping point. I'm
You're
at that tipping point.
you're at the door with the key, right? And
Yep.
so when you get to that, you're like, "Holy shit.
Yeah.
Where has this been my whole life?" Right?
Yeah.
It's
And
just
it's like, and
awesome.
it's going back to the conversation that we had in the very beginning. Like, I need to figure out what needs to fuel my soul, make me dance, and not fill my time because I have to fill my time. Because that's what I was taught, to fill my time. Like, you have to be busy. It has to make sure that you're busy. No, I can rest too. It's okay to sit on
Yes.
the couch and not, like, this past weekend was the first weekend that I did not work probably in over 4 months.
Wow.
Hmm. Yep.
That's amazing. How
Yeah.
did it feel?
The phone is about to die.
It's
It
okay.
felt amazing. Like, it was it was powerful as fuck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And to be
And
okay,
yeah,
because that's the thing when you don't have
yeah,
guilt attached to it. The things
yeah,
that people as women too, that we sit down and we're like, laundry, dishes, right? We think of
right.
all the projects that we want to do. As soon as we sit down, we jump back up. And it's giving yourself permission. Like Amelia, I love that she leads by example to give yourself permission to
Hmm.
just breathe. Just
Hmm.
stop. We
Hmm.
don't owe anybody anything. It's
No.
self care in its highest form,
Hmm.
down to the bubble bath, right?
Yes. Oh my gosh,
And
I've been taking so many baths lately.
it's the sparkling
It's
water in the wine
awesome.
glass. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
We just
Yes.
shift. I've had protein shakes in a wine glass because I wanted to hold a wine glass. Who tells me it's
Yeah.
wrong? You know,
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
living in that. Yeah. So
Yeah.
productivity anxiety is real. Yes.
Oh my
I
gosh. Right.
remember that was something that, my sister always, I'm slammed, I'm slammed, I'm slammed. Never result driven, but she was
Hmm.
slammed, right?
Hmm.
And it's finding that balance, and just for those of you who are worried about Amelia, Amelia's amazing. She's doing great. But she's also a woman who, if she's told and called to work on Christmas Day, she did. She literally did lives every single day. She did a series that was really cool. And it was from Christmas Day to, or maybe Christmas Eve, I think, even Christmas Eve to New Year's Eve,
Oh
something
wow.
to that sort. But it was all the way those 2 weeks straight, and she was committed and she showed up. And so this is just a way that she honors herself and she honors her word. And that's why we're here today with you
Hmm.
guys, is that it could be both, right? It just looks
Right.
different and it's
Right.
okay. And I love that. And I appreciate you just sharing that, because even with you and the people around you, they need to see that. It's
Hmm.
healthy.
Hmm.
It's healthy to have those balances, and not because someone else had an event for you to attend,
Right.
because even though that's an excuse to step away, it's still something else you're busy doing.
Hmm.
Does that make
Hmm.
sense? So
Yes.
I love that.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. And sometimes for me, um, I people pleaser. I mean, that could be another whole other topic of
Yes.
discussion. But
Yes.
I think it was like, oh, I don't want to disappoint. I don't want to disappoint. Now I'm to a point where I'm like, you're going to disappoint yourself if you say yes.
Yes. And then I would like to encourage and push back from being, you and I are like two peas in a pod, is when do you ask for anything? One.
Right.
And two, when do people show up and check on you just because?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And
Mm-hmm.
so, for all my friends and family out there, if you've not called me to find out if I have toilet paper, are we really friends? Right? It's like in this time of crisis, right? Because I
Right.
don't have time. Well, we all have time. We all have
We all
nothing but
have
time.
time.
We all
Yes.
have time right now. But even in that, what do you do for yourself? And those are
Yeah.
the things. Because at the end of the day, if you get sick, who's going to take care of you?
Right.
Right? Well, who's going to be there for you? And those are the
Yeah.
things that we always figure it out and we do it ourselves. But that's also, I mean, I've driven myself to the hospital before and I was
Mm-hmm.
crying. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying? Where it's like, I don't ask for anybody, but I can't
Yeah.
tell you how many people I've given rides to the hospital. Do you know
Right.
what I'm saying? And these are the things, again, as women that we just pile on and we take on and we're fearless and we do all these things, but it doesn't have to be that way. You
Yeah.
can get your tribe, you can get your people, and you can then be the asker and not just
Right.
the person that says yes. And I love that.
Yeah. Even on Saturday after I jacked up my shoulder and I knew I jacked it up, like when I couldn't continue a push up, I
Yeah.
just laid there and started crying. And I went, and normally I would have just sat there and just been frustrated, but I just walked right into my house, like jumped on my husband's lap, and and he's
Yeah.
like, "What is wrong?" And I'm like, "I am in major pain right now." And I was like, "I tore something." I mean, I went to the
Yeah.
extreme, but for somebody for the athlete that I am, that somebody takes away my fitness, like,
Yeah.
but he was like, "Okay, let's get some ice. Here's some Advil. Get your CBD. What do you need?" Like what? And it was me asking for help,
Yes.
and he loved being able to do that for me.
Can you repeat that, please?
It was me asking for help, and
And
he loved doing that for me.
how many opportunities have we missed for
Yeah,
people to love on us
yeah,
because we're good?
right. I'm good. I'm good.
We're
I got
good.
this. I
We're
got this.
good. That limb hanging off. We're
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
Right?
right.
I
Yeah.
mean, and again, from our parents, like I was raised, my mom not to
Hmm.
cry, right?
Yes.
I was raised more like a man. You didn't show emotion, right? We held it
Hmm.
in. You suck it up,
Hmm.
that type of thing. Don't cry, I'll give you something to cry about, all of that good stuff,
Oh
right?
gosh, yeah,
And
yeah.
so being able to cry, I always say, I spent 10 grand to learn how to cry and hug. I mean, that's crazy, right? But
And now we can't hug.
I know. I just had a client. She's going
Oh,
to see
I
her friend.
hate
I
that.
said, give her a hug for me. She's like,
I
she won't let me.
know.
She won't
She,
let me.
that's so funny. I
Yeah.
keep hugging my husband. He's like, stop. I'm like, I don't have all my friends to hug. I miss
I'm a
everybody.
hugger.
I'm a
I'm a
hugger. I
hugger.
am a
I love
hugger. So,
that.
yeah,
I love that. Well, I
yeah.
appreciate you.
I
And thank you
appreciate
for
you. Thank
taking the
you.
time. I just want to make sure there's not any more questions from anybody.
I think it looks like.
Okay.
So Amelia wants us to share this
Yeah, I will
on your
once it's
story.
done.
Yeah.
Yep. Awesome.
Awesome. Well, thank you all
Amelia should
for
be
following
back
up. Yeah, tomorrow, right?
tomorrow. She'll be back.
But if
Back in the
not, we
game.
we got you, boo.
Yes. We love you. We love you. All
Love
right,
you,
babe.
love
We'll
you.
take
All
care.
right. All right, we'll talk
Bye.
soon. Bye.
Bye.